Welcome to Chapter 1. I've been saying in the intro video and the syllabus that this is a class about communication theories. So it makes sense. Chapter 1 starts right off with what is a theory? And that's what we're going to talk about. The chapter is pretty short, and again, I stay with the book quite a bit, so you should be able to get most information between this short lecture and the book. So what is a theory? It is a set of systematic hunches about the way things operate. Now, the two important pieces of information in here are a set of informed hunches and systematic. What that means is you've probably observed some behavior over time, and it happened again and again and again. And you began to wonder, maybe there's something going on here. So when we see things in patterns, we quickly think there may be a theory or something bigger happening. So I'll give you a couple of them, and your activity is going to ask you to list some of them. But we have theories about the way people communicate, the way people develop relationships, the way people are persuaded. Maybe one of a newer theory was the theory of FOMO, or the fear of missing out. And this theory came about as people began posting more and more in Facebook and Instagram and social media that they were actually having anxiety about missing out on the things that their friends were doing, or that they weren't doing enough cool things. So you saw a lot of anxiety in people, and this became a pattern. And we ended up with a theory of missing out and what social media is doing to us. So we know what a theory is. It's generally, again, these hunches about something that seems to be happening again and again and again. Maybe every time you meet someone, they say, I just want to be friends. And you say, why do I keep getting friend zoned? That's a theory, actually, about what we do when we want to just be friends with someone, what we say and how we communicate that. These are hunches. Theories ultimately become, as your book talks about, nets, lenses, maps. And really, this is just a way to look at how theories explain certain phenomenon. So when I talk about developing relationships, we can cast a net and talk about a bunch of different theories that explain how and why we form relationships. It's one way of looking at something. So a theory will ultimately help us explain a larger phenomenon, and we may have multiple theories within that net or lens or even on the map, so we can get to other places. Whether you want to call it a net, a lens, or a map, theories are ways of explaining. For us in the social sciences, it's really explaining human behavior, why and how we communicate the way we do. That's what a theory is, and I'm going to ask you in your activity to list and define 5 theories. Hint, Google communication theories. I'm sure you'll come up with a few. Another hint, every single chapter in your textbook is about a communication theory, something we've observed and seen over and over again, and we can probably say people will typically respond or behave in this way in this kind of a setting. The latter half of the chapter kind of goes over some communication basics that maybe, hopefully, you might even remember from 103, and that is just the process by which we communicate. Communication is a relational process. We do create and interpret messages, and we hope for some type of response, or you may have even learned that as feedback. So you can definitely look at the parts of communication, make sure that you are familiar with the notion of messages and interpretation and relational process, but there's nothing very specific I'm going to ask you about the models. Hopefully that is review. And that's Chapter 1. It's really just getting a grasp on what do we know about how we communicate, basic model, and what is a theory. A theory is a way of knowing, really. It helps explain something that's happening to you. So you have to come up with 5 communication theories today, and you need to define them. Again, check the chapters in your book. I'd also encourage you, just Google communication theories. There's a ton of them out there that explain how and why we communicate the way we do.